Warning: listener discretion is advised due to the graphic nature of crimes detailed in this podcast. This episode contains discussions on murder, assault, and dismemberment, which some may find offensive. We advise extreme caution for listeners under the age of 13. The death of the third night wizard. The Three Night Wizards were known in the 50s as an uplifting orchestra singing in Igbo and English, with its lead singer, Israel Njemanze, doling out calypso-like tunes after tunes for his adoring fans. They were so famous in the 50s, they did a promotional song for Star Lager, a popular beer produced in Nigeria. Also in 1955, Sir John Stuart Macpherson was making arrangements to hand over to the new government of James Wilson Robinson as the last colonial governor-general of Nigeria. However, in the early hours of the 8th of April 1955, Good Friday, the Mushin-Yaba railway line in Lagos State would be carried away by a tale of murder unheard of as they woke up to the grisly, dismembered body of Israel Njemanze on the rail tracks, leading to nationwide mourning of the Three Night Wizards and the burning question: was he murdered, or was he accidentally killed by a moving train? Murder234. Buried in archives, hidden in lost case files, this true crime series uncovers Nigeria's most historic and horrifying murders. Stories of Nigeria's most sinister citizens. Every episode, Murder234 explores and brings insight into Nigeria's history, one murder at a time. According to unconfirmed reports, Israel Njemanze was born on Christmas Day, 1922 in Amawam, Owerri, Imo State, to the Njemanze royal family. Owerri, the capital, with the 460 postal code, sits in the intersection of roads from Port Harcourt, Onitsha, Aba, Orlu, Okigwe, and Umuahia in the eastern region of Nigeria. We know Israel nursed the idea of rising through the ranks as a military officer, but it was his mother who shot this ambition down. Nonetheless, this soldier was a very talented vocalist who ranked alongside Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Osita Osadebe as social commentators and activists who laced his songs with comical rebuttals while also being brutal in sending his message to politicians and citizens through these songs. He had lyrics like debtor e no dey go prison, only who thieves go to jail, to lyrics saying, if you want to have a lover, never marry an Igbo woman.
If you want to make a lover, never you make an Igbo lady. If you make an Igbo lady, tomorrow money, money, money.
He was a very funny man, as Sony in his book, Highlife Music in West Africa, recalls tenants of 81 Ibidun Street, Njemanze's family house, remembering him as a jovial man who danced and played with his neighbors and co-tenants, playing songs as he walked around his neighborhood. Airily, he also sang and joked about his height as being short, which might also mean a short life for him. The Three Night Wizards, Israel Njemanze, Michael Adeyemo, and Samuel Jegede, who was also the band treasurer, performed at events daily and never lacked shows. It was at one of such functions Njemanze met the Oba of Benin, who named him Nwoba, son of a king, after he told the Oba he was from a royal family in his own state. On the eve of Good Friday, around 6 p.m., 7th of April 1955, Njemanze said to his 6-month-old daughter and his wife what would be his final goodbye. He proceeded to go for an appointment with his friends, and by 9 p.m., he was done. His friends saw him off to the Ojuelegba Junction, where he told them he was going to visit the band's treasurer, Mr. Samuel Jegede, in Mushi to settle a band dispute. Oti explained in his book that Njemanze believed in musicians needing formal academic training, and together with the fact that 1955 was also the year the Western Region government introduced its free primary education scheme, with such reforms prompting him, Njemanze decided that he was going to study music in London, after which he would build a hotel in Nigeria's treasure base, Port Harcourt, and settle to focus on his already budding career. Unknown to him, this dream itself seemed less and less likely as he trudged on to Jegede's house. Present at Jegede's house was Njemanze's childhood friend, Jerome Agumadu. The duo bought drinks for Jegede and other band members to lighten the mood. Israel's wishes were announced to the band and was said to have caused a huge ruckus, as the intended exit of Njemanze did not go down well with his bandmates. It was during this meeting, Jegede was heard to have threatened Njemanze. "I will kill you if this group breaks up. You can't go anywhere, I'll kill you." The group decided to meet the next day, the 8th of April, 1955, but Israel wouldn't be alive to attend this meeting. Residents woke up to the whispers of the death of Israel Njemanze and how his body was found dismembered on the Mushin rail line. John Aboderin, in a Drum magazine article, suggests the death smelled strongly of ritual murder, as his body was found in 18 dissected pieces and rumored that some of his vital organs were missing, including his tongue. Another whisper said Njemanze was killed as revenge by another band he left years before, as they had accused Njemanze of misappropriating funds to the tune of £200. Yet another whisper, which turned out to be the truth, was of a taxi man who said, while he was parked trying to take a nap in front of Lido Bar in Moshalashi Idioro, Mushin, Lagos, a man tapped on his window to get his attention, asking if he could render services by taking his sick friend to the hospital. He agreed and drove towards the Mushi rail line when the man got out of the car to talk to some men who carried what seemed like a human body towards him. As the taxi flashed his headlights, he saw what seemed to be a man soaked in blood and quickly declined to help, driving off immediately. In performing his civic responsibility, the taxi driver and the owner of the taxi went to the police station the next day to file a report. In the early hours of the 8th of April 1955, railroad workers were walking along the rails doing routine inspection when they stopped dead in the tracks, as right in front of them lay the grisly body which they believed had been run over by a train. They promptly called the Ebutemeta railway station police to inform them of this gruesome discovery. During the investigation, the body was discovered to be that of the well-loved night wizard, Njemanze, and in his pocket, a blood-stained piece of paper with all the addresses of places he visited on that fateful day was found. Francis Famoroti, in his 2013 National Mirror article, notes that at the time, detectives were at their best in their work, and with the aid of police dogs, blood spots were traced to the entrance of a house on Adebite Street, Idioro, Mushin, Lagos. By April 25, 1955, the prosecution presented 16 suspects, including the owner of the taxi and the taxi driver, before a Yaba magistrate court for preliminary investigations into Njemanze's murder. By the time this was done, in September 1955, only 8 men were sent to trial at the court before Justice John Bennett. As a prosecution witness, Juliana Njemanze, the widow of Israel Njemanze, told the court how on the 8th of April 1955 she had seen the dismembered body of her husband at the rail line, and how, as a new mother to a 7-month-old baby, she had said what she did not know was her last goodbye to her husband on that fateful day. Njemanze's widow told the court how she would never see him again, nor her child have a father. The pathologist who performed the autopsy testified that mutilation and dismemberment on the body happened after death. Cause of death was said to be by wounds sustained on the back of his left ear and chest, indicating that he might have been hit on the head to render him unconscious before inflicting the fatal blow that killed him. Njemanze was not killed by a moving train after all. The accused all claimed to have alibis. The death of Israel Njemanze was a matter of nationwide concern, as he was virtually a national hero because of his song lyrics and how invaluable these were to society and Nigeria as a country. Upon the visit of the jury to the crime scene, the suspects were booed and they were heckled every time the crowd saw them, mostly in court. The prosecution argued Njemanze was killed and transported to the rail line in Mushin using a bicycle. They prayed that the accused be found guilty and sentenced to hanging for killing their band leader. The state prosecutor closed its case September 26th, while the defense, through their defense counsel, Anderson Obaseki, closed October 5th, 1955. On October 12th, 1955, a week after the defense closed, a 12-man jury of Justice John Bennett found 6 of the accused men guilty and sentenced them to death by hanging. Samuel Jegede, Peter Nwagu, Cyril Anikwe, Michael Adeyemo, Lawal Dada, and Dada Owolabi. The convicts appealed at the West African Court of Appeal, also known as the WACA. This court, during its time, served as the appellate court for British colonies of the Gold Coast, Nigeria, Gambia, and Sierra Leone. At the WACA, only Lawal Dada's appeal succeeded, and the others were sentenced to death by hanging at the Broad Street prisons in Lagos. Myth has it that some of the acquitted persons died within months after their acquittal. Who knows if it was purely coincidence or the work of the wizard from beyond. Murder 234.